We were talking baseball in segment 2. Now we're hitting me with your best shot, Cedric. And
far away.
I'm big on the music lyrics today, apparently, but let's start with an actual punch. I didn't know that things could get much worse for the Cleveland Browns, but apparently Myles Garrett gets flagged down by a fan who seems to want to take a selfie with the Browns defender and instead takes a swing at the guy. Now, Myles Garrett, it sounds like the punch landed, but it wasn't much of a punch. He basically chastised the fan on Twitter for needing to plant his feet, I think was what he said, to really get something behind it. But man, just when you thought things couldn't be any crazier in the dog pound, they continue to be a mess in Cleveland, Cedric.
You know you got problems when the fans are doing more hitting than players.
Woo.
And I'm telling you, it's funny how the Super Bowl was supposedly, or the AFC North was supposedly just handed to them in August. They forgot they got to win some football games. And it's really dysfunctional. Fans are just so emboldened now. You think Charles Barkley would have taken that back in the day? Remember when he threw the guy out of the plate glass window?
Yeah.
And the judge asked Charles, do you have any regrets? And Charles goes, I wish I was on a higher floor when I did it. Because I'm telling you, these guys nowadays, these fans think that they are part of the action. And from what I understand, I think an arrest has been made, or they were on their way to making an arrest last I checked. I hope they put him under the jail. And you know what? I've got the perfect penalty for him. That's something that's just gonna really resonate with him and make him never do it again. Jen, you want to know what that is? How about season tickets to the Cleveland Browns? Now that would be a punishment beyond all punishment. The way they're playing,
wow!
Make him come to every game and just sit through that horror that is the 2019 Cleveland Browns. They're 7-9 waiting to happen, and people were betting them to go 11-5, 12-4. Championships aren't won on paper; they're won on a football field. And the Browns have not gotten it done yet.
No, they have not. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it is, man, it's got to be sort of disbelief by a lot of people in Cleveland. I mean, I know that they've been through a lot, and so maybe you just say, well, this is just par for the course. But listen to this. Baker Mayfield ranks 32nd in the NFL in passer rating. 66 is his passer rating, 66.0.
How many teams in NFL? 32.
I think you know the answer to that.
32. Just let the layman know.
56% of his passes, 5 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions. Kyler Murray, the Oklahoma rookie quarterback who's now with the Arizona Cardinals with all sorts of issues on that Cardinals roster. He ranks better. He's got a better, and at the bottom, the biggest thing is he's won more football games right now in this season than Baker Mayfield has. It's not that the Browns, I've said this several times, Cedric, we've talked about the Browns repeatedly. It's not that they can't pull out of the tailspin they're in, but as of yet, they've shown very few signs that they're headed in the right direction. And it'd be one thing if they were, sort of trending up and just not winning games, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong stuff, but I have not seen evidence that they're going in the right direction, much like the Dallas Cowboys, which, Cedric, that, as much as it's a surprise that the Browns aren't there, they were just kind of, we were expecting that they were going to be better. The Cowboys, we knew they were going to be great, but, Cedric, they are having struggles too. What is going on in Dallas?
Well, first of all, they played 3 horrible teams to start the season. The Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins. And now they've taken a step up in competition, and they lost to the Saints, and now they lost to the New York Football winless Jets.
Ugh.
Was it a 95-yard touchdown pass to Robbie Anderson?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And what's happened is the Cowboys they just thought they could show up and beat bad teams. No, not anymore. They've got injuries up front. Amari Cooper, their best wideout, is battling a foot injury. And Jason Garrett doesn't seem to have the answers that are needed to fix this thing. And I think he's on the hot seat now. Jerry Jones didn't extend him in the offseason. And he said on the radio this week look, we're going to sit down after the season and we're going to look at the entire body of work. Operative phrase, after the season. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys going to have to win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs to save Jason Garrett's job. And at this point, they're just trying to get to the playoffs, because as bad as the NFC East appears to be on paper, they're playing down to the competition all of a sudden. You can't lose to the New York Jets if you want to win the division. No. That was an embarrassing loss by the Cowboys. And I think Jason Garrett is probably going to be the sacrificial lamb come season's end.
Wow. Yeah, and I guess this, I have to think it rekindles this talk or vibe. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's talk from inside the organization, but clearly there's a lot of Cowboys fans who don't have to look very far for a guy that they would like to potentially be that next head coach, that being Lincoln Riley. You teased it earlier, Cedric, but, the Oklahoma coach has near as we can tell, sort of batted away other, talk of such things in the past. He hasn't left Oklahoma, but Cedric, they keep winning. He keeps producing. Just when you think they can't do any better offensively, he figures out a way to be even better offensively. Maybe the talk never died down. Maybe rekindling the talk is just further fanning it. But I have to think that's gonna be back front and center here fairly soon if the Cowboys don't come out of this tailspin.
I remember the Big 12 media days. We were up in Dallas, and Barry Trammell stood up. Our guy stood up and goes, "Lincoln, you lost a lot of linemen, so the offense is going to take a step back." Barry was basically proclaiming it.
Yeah.
And Lincoln goes, "We're not taking a step back. We're going to do what we've always done.
Yeah.
We're going to move the ball, and we're going to score, and we're going to win games." He's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a coach. The question he has to ask himself, and he can go be the Cowboys coach if he wants. Jerry will drive a Brinks truck to Norman and drop off $100 million at Lincoln's house.
Yeah.
He would be the first $10 million a year head coach. And the question he has to ask himself, Jen, do I want to be part of the circus? Do I want to be part of the Jerry show?
Yeah.
Do I want to deal with all the distractions that come with working for Jerry? You're going to have a spacious office. You're going to have a great salary, but you're going to have to work for the Jones family. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but those guys haven't been in a Super Bowl since 1995 or 96. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And so it's a championship star franchise. It's a sleeping giant. It's Rip Van Winkle of the NFL. He's been asleep for a while.
Yeah.
I think Lincoln can get that job if he wants it, Jen. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's comfortable at OU.
Yeah.
He's winning Big 12 championships at OU. He's got a great boss in the Don, Joe Castiglione, one of my favorite people in all of sports. He's got a great situation there. But money talks, Jen.
Yeah.
And if Jerry says here's $100 million over 10 years guaranteed, and Lincoln Riley's looking at those dollar signs, it's America. Who can blame him for taking a look at that job in a very serious fashion?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to like. There's a lot to be questioned, too. You bring up some great points. The thing about Jerry Jones is he's going to be in your business as the head coach, but he's also the same Brinks truck. He'll drive up to Lincoln Riley's house and throw out the money. He also will do for players. He'll do that to get the talent, to whatever it is. They're willing to spend the money. So unlike some ownerships, you know that you're going to have the resources. So you don't have to question the commitment to wanting to win. They just haven't won. And so then there's all the ancillary parts of that. Lincoln Riley right now, he's the king of the castle. There's no doubt about it. He may not be the president of the university. He may not be the athletic director. But Cedric, we know there are universities out there where the football coach has more power than those people that are his boss. As long as they don't do something dumb, they can control things. And Lincoln Riley's right now in that seat, the king of the castle. So, does he want to trade that for more money, to not have to, there's all the football side of things. You're just strictly coaching football. You're managing egos, obviously, but you're not out recruiting. You don't have to worry about fundraising. Those sorts of things are gone off your radar. So it is a give and take. I do think that there's going to have to be a decision made there. I don't know what the answer is going to be, but, I don't know if you wonder, is Lincoln Riley sitting around thinking, man, I hope the Cowboys figure something out. This is a decision I don't want to have to make. Or does he potentially look forward to that? I don't know. I think and he wouldn't answer that question, but I think that would be fascinating. Could they just, in his mind, is he thinking, could Jason Garrett just figure some things out so I don't have to deal with that question again? Because it's coming if the Cowboys don't figure things out.
It is, and it's like I always said, it's always good to be wanted. It's always good to have some options. Lincoln Riley is sitting in that fabled catbird seat.
Yep.
He's the coach of one of the best college programs in America. He's comfortable, he's wealthy, and they want him.
Yep.
On both sides. I think the best job to have right now is Lincoln Riley's agent. I wouldn't mind being that guy. Or girl, whoever that might be. Call me envious. I'd love to have that gig.
Well, in the same way Lincoln Riley's wanted, we want you folks to come back next week. We'll have lots more sports talk. Who knows? Maybe I'll throw out a few more lyrics. You never know what's going to happen here on the Writer's Block. So be sure to come back and see us next week.